What's up, guys? For today's video, I'm going to go over a strategy that I've implemented recently that is basically a quick scalping strategy. I love to use it on the indices, QQQ, SPY, IWM. We have SPY here, and basically all it is a 3-minute orb strategy. It's a very quick mover, but it can get us off to a decent start. First thing, I'd recommend is not sizing in as heavy since it is just a 3-minute. These are going to be very quick plays, and it takes a little bit of time to get used to how fast the plays move, but it can be a very good way to start the day. So first thing first, got SPY here. I got this double chart set up in TrendSpider. How you do this, flip on this little drop down menu here. Normally it's on one chart, you can flip it to 2 charts. Got the 3-minute over here, got the 1-minute over here. I'm going to use the 3-minute to establish my call and put trigger, the high and low, the first 3-minute candle, and use the 1-minute for execution. In this case, we have a high at 370.94, and we got a low here at 370.1. 370.11, you get the idea. Okay, cool. So next thing, I'm going to flip over here, looking at this 1-minute for execution purposes. In this case, we have 2 decent entry spots. And this is going to be a very quick mover. So I am sized in a little bit less than I normally would. And it's really just a strategy to get the day started on a decent note. It's going to move fast. So, have to get used to that a little bit. But if this is something you're going to try, I would recommend just trying, maybe even 1 contract. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to scale in halves as well, just 1, 2 scales. First scale is going to be into momentum. I don't care what the percentage is. I just want to get a decent start. And the second one, or the runners in this case, are going to be on a close back above the 9 EMA here on the 1-minute chart. All right, so in this case, we have a close below that 370.1 right here. We're below all of our EMAs, and VWAP conviction is added. Perfect. There's our first entry spot. If we don't enter here, or we miss this entry, don't like how far down it is here on the 1-minute, we can always use a retest of levels, that orb low in this case, or a retest of the 9 EMA. The 20 EMA here for this scalping strategy isn't going to work as well, just because it's going to probably take a little bit longer to establish. And this is a quick mover, quick strategy just off of open. In this case, we have a nice long upper wick here. We're below our EMAs, that conviction is added, below the VWAP as well, as we talked about earlier. So this provides another decent entry spot here. Perfect, cool. My first scale going to be this big momentum candle. My stop loss is going to be a 1-minute close above the 9 EMA in this case. In other cases that I'll show in some later examples, is a 1-minute close back above our orb low in this case. If it were to be calls, using that 370.94 is what it should be. Then I'm going to stop out with a close below that level. Cool. This is my first scale. Already half scaled out. We start to base up here a little. We could scale it anyway, but for those runners, and in this case, if I'm really looking to hold runners for a possibility of more gains, I'll stop myself out here. We get a 1-minute close back above the 9, indicating a possible trend flip. Using IWM, here's an example from June 17th, which would have been a Friday. I'm using that 3-minute orb strat. In this case, decent 3-minute orb range here. High 165.81, low 164.38, and I'm going to execute off of the 1-minute chart. This is a very good example of why I kind of like to use the retest method on this as well. In this case, we do close above here, right? But we next candle, tweezer top, back down. We hold these EMAs, cool. So in this case, could have been an okay entry spot looking for that 165.8, but in order for more conviction to break that range, I want this next candle here. We close above, nice entry spot. Then we get a nice little push. Here comes our scale, and then we don't even have to scale out until right here would be our runner stopped. In this case, using kind of the knowledge we know and the fact that this is the 1-minute, we're looking just for something quick, probably scale out either at this candle here in order to protect those gains, or if we have some diamond nuts, we start to scale out and we're fully closing these runners up in this range here. We have 2 tweezer tops, and we cannot break this top range here at 167.5. It looks like we can't break out of that range. So, my runners are fully out. Perfect, awesome, cool. In this case, the reason, why I like playing that retest, even on the 1 minute, even on the 5 minute, whatever it may be, playing the retest allows for us to reduce the risk about as much as we possibly can. And it's not always going to happen. If you miss this move or you're not comfortable with playing super, super fast, I wouldn't recommend, especially not sizing in heavy, but just take some time, study a little, backtest a little. It definitely took me time to backtest this multiple days. But I like the 3 minute better than the 5 minute for a very, very quick scalp off open. And as I stated before, just likes to get my day going a little bit. And we have confluence here. We got the 9 EMA above the 20 EMA here on the 1 minute and above VWAP. So it gives us a little bit of conviction and just, the ability to scalp really, really fast. Since this is a really, really fast move and just a quick scalp off of open, I'm not worried as much about the percentage here in terms of percentage possible gained. So I'm not, as worried as that. I'm just more worried about scaling into momentum and also, respecting stop loss, moving that stop loss up as we go along, just scaling in halves, trying to, make it as simple as possible, but also giving us a little bit of ability to stay in the play a little bit longer and squeeze out some gains if needed. Doing that with the runners, of course. I'll talk about this a little bit more in the next video, which will go over Fibonacci levels using the orb. And we can do that as well here on the 3 minute. I like to use the 15 minute in terms of overall day trading, just because it does set up more of a range and it gives us, levels that are more respected throughout the day, so I can hold those plays a little longer. This strategy I just like to use for scalping. Pretty simple, but it gives me a call and a put trigger, and I have to move pretty fast. I'm not a big fan of the 1 minute because I do think there are a bunch of fake outs, as seen by this candle here. There are fake outs on the 1 minute, so playing that retest I think is, the better option. It doesn't always happen, but in my opinion, I think that is the better way, the less risky way to play it, is just waiting on that 1 minute. Second close above, or the first one closes above, then we retest. Cool. Most of the time these plays are going to happen within the first, 10 minutes and we're done. So that could be a 5 minute trade because those first three, right, we're sitting out. Perfect. In other cases, it might not happen. And on slower moving names such as IWM here compared to SPY, I might just play the 15 minute orb because it is a slower moving name. That's perfectly cool. I like that 15, as I stated before, more for overall day trades. This is just a scalping method because we are using shorter time frames, which gives us less reference point for these support and resistance. But one reason it works is because, there's always more volume at the very start of the day. Orb is a momentum based strategy. So we're just using that momentum in order to get a quick scalp, start our day off right. That's about, all it comes to.